Today we're going to be looking at walking through properties, kind of doing an inspection. Some of the inspections is pre-purchase, some of them after you purchase the property, but it's all the same inspection, because either way you want to get an inspection done from a home inspection team or whoever's in your area that does inspections. They'll give you the complete rundown. They'll go under the house, in the attic, and look at all the places that we're not going to look today. All right, so first of all, we're looking at the front of the property. This is a property that we purchased, and we actually started the renovations on this property. So some of the things will be repaired. There'll be some things that's unfinished, but we're just going to take a look at some of the things that you want to look at. So follow me. So when you walk up to the property, first thing you see are the steps, and you see the brickwork and the porch, and it needs a screen door. So you see there was previously a screen door. The doors need to be taken. I'm not going to go into all the minute details. I'm just going to talk about the big things and the things that I look at that kind of give me a clue if there are big ticket items that need to be done. So we're down here on the ground. I'm not going to get on the roof, but you would look at the roof and kind of see the age of the roof. You can tell kind of by the shingles how they're worn, but it don't really give you a full picture. But I look at the lines. The lines on the house, when I say lines, like the roof line. So I'm looking at the roof line and I see around the fascia or the soffit that there's damaged wood, or there are areas that are lagging and sagging or falling. Those are the things that I know that work needs to be done. There could be a leak inside that from the roof that's run down to that soffit, especially if the soffit is sagging. Windows, I'm looking around the windows to see if there are leaks or anything going on with the windows. Are they oddly shaped or sagging on one side or up on the other side? Those are signs of issues. Look at the brickwork. Is there separation in the bricks? When you look at the bricks, if there's separation in the bricks and maybe one side looks to be a little low or something shifted, or it could be just something with the foundation, or it could just be the house settling. But you want to get that check if there's too much separation. I think it's ½ inch to a quarter inch to a ½ inch of separation or more. You want to get it checked out by a structural engineer. So let's walk around. Here's some bricks. This house was built in the 1900s. So there's been a lot of brickwork and things that's been done here. So you can see what I mean by there's been some separation here, but the porch has been repaired. So you can see the mortar is thicker over here than it is in some of the other spaces. But yeah, that's what I mean by some of it is just the house settling, other parts of it is actual where something needs to be done by a structural engineer or somebody professional. Also, when you look at, make sure you're looking at your doors and looking around your doors, around your door frame. If your door frames are worn or weak, that could be leakage on the inside of the house. So it could be floor damage around these, especially when you see these type of issues right here. Always look at the inside of the floor, because there could be floor damage near or around these areas. This house happened to be have a concrete floor in here, so we're not really worried about the water damage. But there is no water seeping inside because we had a good rain today, and we would have noticed if it was. Come on in. This is a nice porch, screened-in porch, and a lot of windows. Like I said, again, you want to look at, when you're looking at for roof damage, you want to look at your ceiling inside. Where you see water spots or any of those things inside, then you know that could be there is a leak on the top side. And a lot of times, even though this is not a wood floor, when I walk next to windows, I walk next to the edge of the wall, because if you got a soft spot in the floor on near a window or somewhere from the ceiling, then you know there's a leak somewhere that's coming down on the wall and has now damaged the floor. And if it's damaged that floor, then there's definitely some damage in that wall. So you have to look out for those things. And another sign of that is when you look along the lines. Remember I said check the lines of the house? If you see a sag or a U or a bow from the ceiling or in that wall, that's a sign that there's some big damage in that wall, and it's affecting the floor and the wall. Especially if it's around the window, it's damaged the window as well. And there's outside walls are load bearing, so it's going to take some significant effort to try to repair that. A lot of these old houses, houses owned for a long time. Sometimes homeowners do a lot of different things, interesting things, and you'll see this in another part of the house. A lot of times electrical sockets and electrical outlets and things are installed by the homeowner, and they'll run wires all different kind of ways. So you just got to be careful when you're looking and in the purchase, because those things have to be fixed. But come on in. So again, one of the other things is you want to check for leaks. Leaks is one of those things that can run away from you if you're not careful and can cause significant damage. So I just check under the sink to see if there are any wet spots, or is there current soft spots under the sink? Is there mold under there? And that's another thing about ceiling leaks. If you see black spots in the ceiling, little small black spots, that could be mold caused from a leak from the inside of the top. So just pay attention to spots in the ceiling, water spots in the ceiling, black spots in the ceiling. So you can tell if there's been a leak or if there's water damage in that ceiling. Those are big things that you just kind of want to look out for, because mold remediation can be costly. All right, so this is one of those things where we were talking about before, where we actually had, and I'll pull this out for you so you can see. All right, but better seen from the other side. Let's see from the side. So again, homeowners doing wiring and doing different things to kind of wire things up. Just want to be aware, because when you try to sell this house and they do an inspection, you're going to probably have to fix it. By us being investors, we really don't care, because we know we got to do some repairs anyway, so we'll take care of it. But electrical, plumbing can be expensive, so do pay attention to these things, and I'll show you in a minute why. All right, so as a matter of fact, let me just show you now. So when we purchased this home, we noticed that there were several outlets along the wall. So there are several outlet holes along the wall. But all of this wiring was done by the homeowner. And all of this wiring, and when we pulled up the carpet, was running across the floor underneath the carpet and the padding. So, I mean, these are the kind of things you see with the older houses, and where someone may have lived in it for a long time and knew enough about electricity to be dangerous. And that is definitely dangerous to have all of these running off of one breaker. There's more on this side. So there's probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outlets in this room running off one circuit. So yeah, you definitely don't want that. So we took them out and kept the original outlets, and then we're going to close them up, close the other ones up, seal them and paint them. Won't even know they were there. All right, so let's go back. So a lot of older houses too, and then I want to say just older houses, but if you can come in the daytime, especially if you can get it dark in the house, sometimes you just want to cut the lights off and you want to see where daylight's coming in. So if you look over here, even though the light's on, we can see the bottom of this door. There's daylight coming in. So these are potential for insects, water, and any kind of things that come in the house. So you definitely want to take care of those gaps and holes where anywhere you can see daylight coming through that's not a window or a door, or it's not intended to be. Light fixtures, we replace all the light fixtures, but just check all the switches, flip all the switches, make sure that when you flip a switch, something happens. So you just want to make sure that, because another thing is trying to figure that out is costly. If you have an electrical tester, if you know what to look for, even if you don't, they simple, they're about $5, $6. Just plug them into the wall and see what they say, because those electrical testers will tell you if the outlet is wired correctly. And I suggest testing them all, but you can just do random checks. Once you find one though, I would just go ahead and plug them into all of them to see and make sure they're wired correctly, because they could be improperly grounded or just wired in reverse. And you say, why is that important? Because when you have an outlet that's wired incorrectly in reverse, say you plug in a lamp, and when you plug it into that outlet, usually the bottom's hot, the side of it is the ground. But if it's wired reverse, so now the side wall is hot and the bottom is ground. So if you were screwing in a light bulb or you happen to stick your finger in there and touch it, who knows what can happen. But yeah, I don't want to find out. So yeah, those things are important. Let's see, what else can we talk about in this house? Opening doors, closing doors, making sure that they don't stick, get stuck. Yeah, that bump's kind of hard. So this door, if you see that, that's gonna need to be adjusted. But a lot of different things that people don't really think about. Like I said, turn on all the water faucets, make sure they flow, make sure they drain properly. Flush the toilets, make sure the toilets are working properly, because again, electrical and plumbing are big ticket items and they will cost you. So I don't know if you know what a plumber costs, but call one and tell them you need to replumb a house, and I guess it's a bit interesting number, I promise you. So there are other things that we look at when we look at it. It's the flooring. Just like I said, really, my wife picks on me because she'll see me walking through the house and I'm just bouncing. And I just want to see how strong the floor is, or if it's giving way, or if it's swaying or bowing, because a lot of, you can tell sometimes if there's a broken rafter or some damage underneath, or if it's unlevel when you walk, and pay attention. If it feels like you're walking down here, if you got a slope or you rock back a little bit, it could be again a broken rafter under the floor, under the subfloor. So check those things as well. There's so much that that goes through my mind when I'm looking at a house. Again, ceilings, sags in the ceilings. I mean, you're looking at the lines. When I look at that wall and I look at that line on that top, am I seeing a sway? Am I seeing a dip? Am I seeing a water stain on the wall? Water stains on walls is definitely a bad thing. And then it don't hurt to also put your hand on the wall and kind of push on it in spaces. I do it a lot. My wife laughs at me all the time, but I really want to make sure that I'm getting something good. And I have indeed pushed on the wall and it gave in. I didn't want to do that, but it did. So unfortunately, we ended up buying the house and I didn't have to try to pay for no repairs. So, all right. We are toward the end, but like I said, we want to make sure, look behind things, open closet doors, see what's in there. I promise you, you'll be surprised what you will find. Look in closets, under the cabinets, again, for water. Turn on, turn off everything. Do not leave anything, take anything for granted and just assume that it works, because it may not. We found out that in this house, there was a few outlets and things that did not work. So we definitely want to pay attention to those small things. Windows, older windows have weights. So let's look at the windows. So if you look at this window, you look up here, you see this little thing here? That's an older house. It had a weight on the window. There's a string that should be here that should come down and attach to this window, and on both sides. So inside this wall, there's probably a weight with a string attached to it at some point that's broken off. So when you buy these older houses and you see that up there, then you know what that is. The window's probably heavy. I actually had a personal experience where I got my finger smashed in one of these windows. So Definitely be careful when unlocking these windows and trying to lift them, because if they're not secured at the top and the weights are not in place, the top window could come down and smash the finger. So I'm trying to give you everything, but I don't know if I can give it all to you. This is probably one of the biggest things that people don't check. If you walk into a house and it has a heat pump or a gas pack, check it. Turn on the air, turn it down. Even if it's summertime, turn on the heat and let it blow. And make sure it stays on and doesn't go off, because sometimes it'll come on, but if you have a cracked heat exchanger or something like that, it'll come on, then it'll go off. So leave it on while you walk through the house, especially if it's summertime. Turn the heat on, walk through the house, check it out. I'm giving y'all all my nuggets. I can't give y'all all of it. I'm gonna leave you with that, and I'll be back.